which stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. But in the teacher world, we call it, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Does anybody know why we might call it that?
To help us remember.
To help us remember. So that's just my little trick that I like to use. But right now, before we get started in the lesson, I want you guys to think of your own little trick that we could possibly use to remember this acronym. I'll give you about a minute to think of that. You can talk about it as your groups.
Like make up your own.
Okay. So if you guys just want to come together, here's what we talked about before, which was please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And then while you guys are thinking of your own acronyms to help you remember the order of operations, I myself thought of another one. I was like, hey, I was reflecting on my night last night, and me and my dog, his name is Paul, we were watching Netflix and eating dried apples. And it was like I'd eat an apple and Paul would eat 2 apples. And I was like, wait a minute, Paul, you're eating more dried apples than me. So Paul eats more dried apple slices. Does anybody want to share theirs? Sharday?
Peanuts, eggs, mustard, donuts, and strawberries.
Peanuts. Who else wants to share theirs? Megan?
Pam eats moldy dough after supper.
Ew.
Oh, Pam.
Pass everyone more donuts after school.
I like that rule. Pass every job. So if you had trouble thinking of your own, you can just choose your favorite one to help you remember. Or if you're just like, no, Miss Harding, I think I got it. I think PEMDAS is the way to go. Then you got it. So now that we have a way to remember the order of operations, let's talk about why it is important. So this is the order that we need to do if we have an equation that has more than one property in it. But you're looking at me like, Miss Harding, that doesn't necessarily make sense. What if I like to do addition first because addition's easier? Well, we all know that sometimes things have to go in order or else it doesn't make sense, right? Such as brushing your teeth. If you, let's say, put the toothpaste on after you already rinsed your mouth out, that doesn't really make sense because you didn't put the toothpaste on your teeth. So how about we do an activity that where we list out the steps of something and then we can see the order and why order is important. So does everybody know how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? All right. We are going to write out the steps on how to make a P, B, and J. What do you do first, class?
Yeah.
Get some bread.
Get some bread.
Make sure you have peanut.
Step 2. What do we got to do?
Get a knife.
Get a knife. Step 3. Get your PB&J. Then what do you do?
Put peanut butter on one side, jelly on the other.
You gotta open the
Slice.
Our last step.
Eat it.
Don't you gotta put them together first?
Okay, put them together.
Okay. We're gonna put them together. Then we eat it. So, you see how this is important? For example, if you put them together, but you forget to put the peanut butter on one slice and jelly on the other, you're just gonna be putting 2 dry pieces of bread together, and that's not a peanut butter and jelly, that's just bread, right? So do we see why steps are important? It's the same thing in math. So let's do some practice problems. All right. So according to our model, whether you say, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or Paul eats more dried apple slices, or pass everybody more donuts after school, whichever way you decide to remember it. What do we do first according to this model? Multiply. So we're going to do 3 times 3 is what?
9.
Times 3 is what?
20.
We're going to bring this plus down. We're going to bring our 4 down. 4 plus 27 is what?
31.
Good job. Now, what if we didn't do it our PEMDAS model? And we just did it straight across? 4 plus 3 is what? 7. And then 7 times 3 is what?
21.
And then 21 times 3 is what?
63.
63. So if we did it just straight across, the answer would be 63. But you just told me that the answer is 31, right? So we see that order is very important when solving problems that have more than one property in them. It makes it so we get the right answer. Just like we talked about following all of our steps to make a peanut butter and jelly, it's important we go in order, otherwise we don't get the right result. So now that we've done a little bit of guided practice problems, we're gonna play a little game. And you know Miss Harding loves her game bingo. So everybody's gonna get a bingo sheet. So you actually have to fill out this bingo sheet yourself. So you see where the B is? In the B, you just fill in a number between 1 and 10. So in the first box, you can put whatever number 1 through 10. And then under the I row, or column, sorry, we're going to do numbers 11 through 20. So fill out whatever numbers you'd like that go between 11 and 20. And then in the N row, or column, I'm sorry, we're going to do the same thing, numbers 21 through 30. G, we're going to do numbers 31 through 40. And O, we're going to do numbers 41 through 50. And when you are ready, give me a thumbs up. Are we all ready? Okay, cool. So the way this works is I'm going to put an equation on the board. You're going to solve it. And then if you have the answer on your board, you're going to mark that square. And since we don't have any counters, we're just going to mark it. You can put a star on it with your pencil. You can just put a dot. You can cross it out. Whatever way you want to do to make sure that you know that that square has been marked. So let's solve this together. 5 minus 4
5 minus 4 is 1.
plus
6
6
is 7. Minus
Minus
3 is
3.
4.
So the answer is 4. If you have 4 on your board, mark it. And if not, then don't. Our next equation is 1 times 2 plus 3 times 4. So, what's going to be our first step?
Multiplication.
Alright, so we can multiply 1 times 2, right? And then multiply 3 times 4. And then we're going to add those bad boys together to
14.
Alright, good job.
Oh.
So if you have 14 on your board, mark it. If not, don't. So for our next equation, which one do we do first? It says 8 plus 7 times 6.
Multiply 7 times 6, which is 42.
Plus
8, that gives me 50.
Good job. If you have 50 on your board, mark it. If not, don't. Simone, did I hear you say bingo? Nice shot. We have a winner.
Yay.
For your exit tickets, I just want you to just give me your slip where you brainstormed the strategy you're going to use to help you remember the orders of operation, and then you can line up to go to